Well, I thought I'd put together a little video about a deck project that I've taken on. I wish I had thought of it about a week ago when I started the project, but I'll try to catch you up with what I've done, and I'm hoping to be able to take some more shots of the project as it goes through, and I can fill you in on the steps that I've taken and how much money we're actually saving in putting the labor in ourselves and just buying materials. So let's take a look at what's happening here and what's involved in this project.
We'll be updating the look of the deck with TimberTech planking. Before taking on a project of this size, we knew it was important to do some careful planning. We'll be using a picture frame design. That's where the border planks run around the outside of the deck. This will create a clean, finished look, almost like a frame around a piece of art. That's our hope here. This is not intended to be a how-to video. I put it together to show how do-it-yourselfers can take on a deck project. If you're looking for professional advice on building a deck, you might want to go to Dr. Deck's YouTube channel. He's a pro. We picked up some great tips watching his videos.
Hey guys, Dr. Dex here. Today we're framing a deck.
You'll see us utilizing some of Dr. Deck's tips in our project. We've ordered the materials and we're just getting over the sticker shock. TimberTech materials are beautiful and durable, but wow. Our total so far is $9,476.69, and we know that cost will climb as we make trips to the big box store for incidentals throughout the project. Let's get started installing the blocking for the picture frame. That's looking pretty good, except for a high spot on the joist down in the corner. I'll level it off with the multi-tool.
Not too bad. I think I can live with that.
I'll just sand it a bit and prep it for the flashing. Next step is to flash the ledger board and the joist. I worked my way around the outer frame of the deck, adding enough blocking for the picture frame border and the new rail system. Initially, we thought we'd be able to preserve the railing, but today we decided it was better to remove it. In our assessment before we began the project, we knew we had a problem with a few of the posts. We had two posts on the outside of the deck that we knew we had to replace. But then, when we looked inside, you'll see in a minute, we found a greater problem. When we began the demolition and checked out the posts running down the center of the deck, we realized that the post replacement need was much greater.
I'm with a big one right here. And I try to get into the bar.
I refined another skill after replacing 6 posts. The posts were originally set on concrete footings. Some of the footings settled over time, and the posts were in the air. It was time to make things right by adding galvanized adjustable standoff bases. Building codes change over time from lessons learned and as new building technologies emerge. The metal post bases provide a 1-inch standoff, ensuring the wooden posts remain dry and structurally sound by preventing direct contact with concrete and ground moisture. It just makes sense to address every structural deficiency as it pops up. Cape Cod Lumber is here with the delivery. We're almost ready to install, but not quite. Before going any further, I thought it would be a good idea to lay out some of the planks to confirm the overall layout. You can see I've used a clamping system to lay out some of the planks, and the orange plastic pieces there are spacers to approximate the spacing between each of the planks. Unfortunately, the complete set hadn't arrived, so I'm using paint stirrers as spacers to be able to calculate the space between each of the planks. This is just to confirm the overall layout of the picture frame around the deck, and then of course the plank layouts, and in particular where the top step meets the main deck. Our next step is to pull the stairs apart and see how the framing and stringers are. Let's hope they don't have to be rebuilt. Unfortunately, most of the screws were rusted in. I have to resort to the Sawzall.
Pop out these.
They look pretty good. We'll get them patched up and flashed. The weather has changed. We're going to have 2 days of rain. The interesting part, though, is that it really shows how the flashing works.
We're in a rain delay, experiencing rain for 2 days. But on a positive note, it gives this old guy's knees and back a chance to rest up. And what's even better, great September weather begins again tomorrow.
This is the first cut at $7.50 a linear foot. I'm being extremely careful. At this point, I'd love to be able to begin Cortexing the boards into place and really having them permanently set. But as a DIYer, I've got to be really careful here. I know a contractor would be moving at probably 4 or 5 times the speed. I drilled small holes in the TimberTech planks where the Cortex screws will land and then tack them temporarily in place. Before we go any further in installing the decking, there's a little plumbing and a little electrical work to be done underneath. We need a new faucet, and we need some wiring done for the deck lights that will be done on the rail system, and of course, the hot tub needs to be rewired as well.
Well, I'm hoping we're about to turn the corner now, finally having a good point of reference to be able to measure off and be able to get our 12s and our 16s in place. So let's show you where we established the 90 here.
We established the 90 at the divider board or breaker board. We've inserted spacers to help us establish a parallel placement of the planks. Now here's where we look like real amateurs. We've used some nails to pin things temporarily, drilling holes in the exact location of where the Cortex screws will go. This certainly isn't how the pros would do it, but as amateurs, if we make a little mistake, this gives us an opportunity to be able to adjust it and correct. Using a clamp and spacer system, we're finally ready to begin the Cortexing. Adding to the accuracy of the placement of the screws, Debbie punches small holes for their location. Debbie begins installing the plugs. The screw holes virtually disappear. We're nearly halfway along on the left side of the deck. We confirm that our courses are running parallel. Great news! After 9 courses, we're running within a 1/16 of an inch. Today we begin work on the right side of the deck. Sometimes the planks have to return to the saw just to remove a blade width. We've snapped chalk lines along the center of each joist to give us straight lines for the installation of the Cortex screws. Debbie punches holes marking the precise location of each screw. The snap lines and the punch holes were a great help to me as I moved along installing the Cortex screws. We're not the fastest deck builders, but we're really happy with the results at this point. The deck is finally beginning to take shape. We've reached another milestone. Today we'll move the hot tub over to this area and we'll complete the demolition. We're finally ready for the demolition and we have our arsenal of tools ready. This is a wrecking claw or the deck wrecker. Get that? An assortment of bars ready. An assortment of hammers and a chisel. And at last resort, Sawzall. Work right along. Here's a puppy right up. Whenever possible, we remove the screws to preserve the joists. Get as many of these out as we can. I was worried about accessing the screws under the overhang of the bay, but with a little perseverance, it worked out fine. That's a good one. Get out. Debbie prepares the joists for G-tape flashing by filling all the holes and cracks with an epoxy wood filler, and then finishes them up with a light sanding. How's it going in there, Debbie?
Awesome. Almost done.
We added 2 more sets of mid-span blocking to stiffen the deck and provide structural support. That was a good day's work for 2 senior citizens. In our next update, we'll complete the final section of decking. At this stage in the project, the inspectors have arrived to make sure that the deck is Husky compliant. It looks like everything is in order. We got their approval.
Everything straight, girls? Everything straight, Mama?
After a month of working slowly and methodically, the main deck is finally complete. All that remains now is to complete the step-up that goes into the kitchen, add the rail, and a little bit of cleaning up and touch-up. It's been a great project. Any reservations or doubts we had have now been replaced with a feeling of satisfaction. We love our color choice of TimberTech's English Walnut. TimberTech's quality control standards are amazing. Every plank in our delivery was flawless. There wasn't a mark, nick, or ding in any piece. Using the picture frame layout and divider board truly helped us minimize our waste. I haven't done the final calculations, but it's in a single digit. Our layout called for nearly full planks. Waste cutoffs were limited to 2 to 3 inch pieces. This is all we had left for scraps, other than our tiny pieces that ended up in the trash barrel. So how much did we save by completing the labor ourselves? This may not be the most accurate way to get an estimate, but I think it might give us a pretty good idea. Since I didn't solicit bids from contractors, I had to come up with some way of coming up with a cost estimate. It may not be the best way, but I chose to ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT broke the cost estimate down into 3 areas: deck surface, stairs, and railings. ChatGPT broke each of the areas down into 3 categories: low cost, mid-range charges, and high. Honestly, I think Massachusetts would be high cost, but for this purpose, I remained conservative and chose the mid-range. First category, deck surface, and it's estimated 448 square feet for the project, which at $25 a square foot would be $11,200. The second area are the railings. We'll need 48 linear feet, which at $75 per linear foot will be $3,600. The third and final area considered in the cost estimate is the installation of the stairs. We needed 5 stairs at $225 each. That would be a total of $1,125. Our total for the deck surface, the rails, the stairs would be $15,925 in the mid-range of contract estimates. I realize that this may not be the best way of calculating the savings we realized on this project, but no matter how we look at it, we saved at least half by doing the labor ourselves. And beyond the cost savings, it was a very satisfying and rewarding project to complete as do-it-yourselfers.